Hey everybody, it's Tuesday.
And welcome to this week's edition of Hook, Line, and Striker.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily. And I'm sure that you guys know that. We have all kinds of awesome things to talk about tonight. But one of the things that we are always interested in hearing is from you guys. So your fishing reports, where you're at, what's biting, and all that. With that, we are going to kind of talk about where fish have been for us. We're going to talk about kind of where we're going coming up because we are actually going to be taking a trip. And spoiler alert, I hate to say, next week we actually will not be here just because we will be traveling on vacation. But we'll try to bring you some special fishing reports and all that. But we'll get to all of that when we get to that. So again, let us know where you're at and what you're fishing for and how that's going. But I guess then that comes back down to us. So how has it been going for us?
Fishing's been pretty good, just dodging the rain that's been in and out. It seems like the patterns have kind of just set up on weekends or just before weekends. So, once in a while we'll get out in the rain and it's not that big of a deal. We got some of that. We bought some of that sweet rain gear last year from Striker, but some of these rainstorms have been pretty gnarly as far as like storms, actual, lightning and stuff. And me working outside all the time, we just don't deal with the lightning. So we've done a couple half weekends, but we've done pretty good.
That is true. And secretly for us, that's been a good thing because we are also moving. So at some point you'll see the background here change. But we have been able to use those as like packing days and all that. But I think that motivates us to kind of hit that water extra hard when those days are, I guess I was going to say safe to get out because not every day has been blue skies, that's for sure.
No, I mean, we've gotten caught out there along with the rest of you, when we're in Northeast Wisconsin, that Fox Valley areas, we like to fish and, like the rest of you, we've gotten caught out there in things that weren't supposed to pop up and they did. And everybody hit under bridges or pulled the boats. And, but yeah, fishing's been good.
And so this past Sunday, I guess I was a little bit surprised. Well, let's start a few weekends ago. Like, was it 3 weeks ago? And we're like, oh, it's still pretty chilly. And then like 2 weeks ago, it was like, whoa, there was a heat spike. And then like, I feel like ever since then, we've had rain and we've had some wind and we've had these storms that we're talking about. So when we went out there, I have to say it was not actually as warm as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was warm enough. It was 70 degrees, but it was, breezy and the thing about rivers is they don't warm up very much. Moving water always tends to be a little bit cooler, and so for us pan fishermen, it's the river is a little bit behind everything else, and we just like getting out on the river. You get to move around a lot, and there's a lot of stuff to see. You never know what you're gonna pull out of a river, so that's always fun. But we've been on lakes too, and they're a little bit further along. They're probably up in the 70-degree range around us. And, with after today, looks like that's going to go to 75 and we'll be in summertime. So.
And that's actually going to be really interesting because this spring has been kind of crazy and like fish have been here and fish have been there and like spawning and not. And, I think that's been different lake by lake and area by area, like region by region. But, I think once that heat hits, because that seems like it's going to be pretty universal, at least across the state, that really is going to send fish into that consistent summer pattern. Mm-hmm. So the good news is it might be a little bit of consistency, but the bad news is I think a lot of people lose the fish after the spring.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a little period there, especially with panfish where they're not really relating to structure and they're not really relating to the shore. They're just kind of like
dumb spawning,
flitting out back and forth. And then once those weeds really set up, then it's a lot easier. But, you still have to figure out, you have your hard weed edge, but then you still have transition areas, and those fish will live in that whole transition area all summer. You just have to make sure that you move around. Don't get stuck in sitting and throwing bobbers into the weeds, because that'll work some days, especially on chillier days or cold fronts. Sometimes, fish will move up shallow, but a lot of times they'll move out deeper, and then you'll have slow days. And sometimes it's just as easy as flipping your boat seat around from casting off of one side to casting off the other side. You just never know.
Well, and it is kind of funny that you say that, though, because, we ran into, honestly, a lot of boaters on the water this past weekend. And, being on the river, everything is a little bit like tighter quarters. Like you're a little bit closer to everyone, with the river channel you're scooting by and all of that. Even the backwaters aren't always, large and open like lakes. And you can kind of hear people's conversations sometimes. And, it's funny. People are always convinced, oh, it's whatever weekend. They should be wherever. But first of all, it does go by water temps. But the other thing is, we're seeing the trend of boats parking just honestly like as shallow as they possibly can, and like casting as shallow as they possibly can. But I mean, that's the thing, is you gotta fish where the fish are.
Yeah, we were pulling a lot of our fish on the outside of the brush, and so what that's telling me is that there's probably a lot of fish that are out suspended in the upper part of the water column, because especially with these warmer days, you're going to get a little bit warmer water up top, and then water underneath is going to be cooler. It's starting to set up that hard thermocline, and the fish post spawn, they'll come out and they'll stay in that warmer water, but they're just out away from what's going on, recovering, eating what's going by. And a lot of our fish came off of the structure. It's 12 feet off the end of some of these trees, and my bobber's only set that deep, and you cast on the edge, and those fish are sitting out there just hanging out, and it goes right by their face, and they'll grab that. But some of them were in the trees, and there was no size that you couldn't pattern a size. They were just all over the place. So it can make it tough. Persistence this time of year is key. But yeah, they're out there.
They are out there. And actually, the fun thing that we talk about, well, I always think all the time, but I think it's still kind of new news to some people. But once summer hits, then we get to troll for panfish. And that is always a very fun, but honestly, very easy thing to do. So I'm sure that we will talk a lot more about that as the seasons come and all of that. But the other thing that's fun about summer patterns is we are going to a place that I guess it's kind of fun to fish for summer patterns.
Yeah, I mean, the Chippewa flowage is fun to fish all time of the year. We have a lot of friends that really love fishing it during the wintertime. It's it's a little bit of a touristy place, but it doesn't feel like that so much, just because there's so much water and it's broken up so much that, like, for the amount of water that's there, there's probably like 3 times the amount of shoreline, just because it's just so in and out, and there's coves and there's islands, and so it feels like a really like far up north trip when it's just right in our backyard. It's only a couple hours away, so it's a really fun time. This time of year is always a surprise, because it could be 50 degrees, it could be 90 degrees like we're getting next week. So it's fun in that it's a challenge, but it's usually also pretty rewarding fishing up there too.
Well, and like you're saying, there's tons of little like pocket lakes and back spots and little alcoves and all of that. And I mean, a lot of shoreline. So if it is earlier in that season, if you're like pan fishing a little bit, casting shallow, but they also have the really unique feature of the bogs. And I really love when it turns to that summer pattern, because those fish, what they will do is they will go and swim to those bogs. And I'm sure there's some that live there like all year, because how could they not? That's a great spot for a fish to be. But it is actually a really unique feature that we don't get to fish all the time.
Yeah, it's very cool. There's 2 types. There's the sunken bogs, which are on the bottom, and that provides a little bit of a really unique bottom for fish to relate to. It's almost kind of fishing a hump or something out in the middle of the lake. Excuse me. But the floating bogs are really cool in that not only does it provide shelter, but it also provides food in the way of shelter for minnows, but then also insects drop off there's big trees that live on there, birds live on there. It's a really cool cool piece of structure to fish, and you can fish it a lot of ways. If you get there like during the day, because at nighttime it's tough because it's like a parking lot. It's like a drive-in theater out there. You put your boats next to each other. Hopefully you have some nice people on either side of you, or you have a group you can go with, and you just line the whole bog and sit out there with some floats. But like during the day, you can run cranks past them if you want, or you can sit anchored, alongside it and cast up where you would usually park your boat. You can just like run a really long rod with the jig. So it's a really cool piece of structure, and it tends to move around a little bit. So that's also kind of neat to be able to go up there and see where you'll be fishing this year.
Well, and especially this year, that is a specifically interesting thing, because I mean, I guess if you are interested, or if you know about the Chippewa flowage, there is one bridge that it's not even a very big bridge, like wide or tall. It's like pretty short. And it cuts the flowage system literally in half. So anytime you're on the east or the west and you want to go to the opposite side, you have to travel under this little bridge. So it just so happens that there is this very large bog. Like I think even some of the old maps call it the 40-acre bog. And I don't know if it's still that big. Maybe pieces have broken off, or maybe it's grown. So I don't know. I don't know how you can tell that. But this giant bog, sometimes is known to move with storms or high water or whatever it is. And this year it actually floated twice, and it closed off that whole bridge system. So people on the east were stuck on the east, people on the west were stuck on the west, and no matter where the fish were, they might have been stuck too. I guess I don't even know that. But it's kind of a funny situation because the community up there, I mean, the fishing community, boating, any kind of tourism, anybody that has access to a boat, they rally them all together, and they either attach a rope and they pull, or they push, and they move this bog from this bridge system so that people are able to get through, and things don't clog up and all of that. So really neat feature, but it didn't just happen once this year, but happened twice. So yeah, when Josh was talking about going and seeing where these different things are, I know that it's going to be different than last year, the year before, because it significantly changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we got a couple of cool things that we're going to try this year. I think this is our second year up at the Chippewa flowage, third year at the Chippewa flowage. No, I think third. I'm kidding. We stayed on the far east side the first year. Now we're kind of north central, and I think last year we didn't bring our Hydroglow light with us, so I'd like to bring that with this year.
Well, and why?
Well, I want to try that by the bogs.
Well, because the first year it was dark. It was dark. It's tannic water on the east side, and that's because of the river coming in, and so it's super coffee. Like it's like really red. Really dark coffee color, and so it really absorbed the light. We tried to use it, and it just didn't work very well. The further west you go, the water clears up. And so I'd really like to try and bring that light out again and run that by the bogs, and it'd just be kind of cool to see. Another thing that I'm going to try, and I'm going to thank my buddy Brian Claremont over at BAC Guide Service for this, but I want to try some night trolling. There's a really good amount of pike and walleye in that system. And I really think that this time of year with the water in like the mid 60s, we could probably pull some fish off of just those gravel points, or something relating to deeper water where the fish are coming up at nighttime to feed, and we'll fish in like 6 to 8 feet of water, just troll cranks around for an hour or two, and see how that goes. And if any of you have any suggestions, I'm not a walleye person. Contrary to what the profiles that we have say, we go walleye fishing twice a year. A week in the spring and a week in the fall. so if you have any tips for the walleye stuff. Well, that's why we bring everybody on the show, is have them be the walleye experts and teach us all these things. So
hey, Daryl,
I like to think I absorbed some of these tips through the years, but like I get out there and I get just as stumped as some of you guys. Oh my gosh. So I am excited actually for some night trolling. I guess I didn't even totally realize that was part of the plan. But we had started the show talking a little bit about rain and the rain gear, and my favorite secondary application, like when it's not raining, I will always bring my rain gear with, because if we are out at night, that is honestly one of the best barriers I have found against bugs. They will not bite through that rain gear, but it has that breathability built into that fabric. So you're not overheating. I mean, we're talking about, oh, we're going to go fishing. It's going to be like 90 degrees this whole coming week. Like the nights don't cool down that much. I'm like putting on like a jacket and pants, but in this case, that's fabric that can make that possible. I don't know. It's crazy. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it is nice to wear rain gear when the mosquitoes are out. We'll probably bring some rubber gloves with us. This nitrile gloves.
Those mosquitoes, they get thick up there. I mean, I know this sounds silly, but it's like it gets crazy.
We'll bring the thermocell too, but we'll let you guys know how our trolling adventure goes. I think we are gonna bring some of our sniping rods for crappies. We have a couple of ACC sticks that we use, the big 12-footers. Of course, we'll have like all the JT stuff with for, I got to run my floats, because if I don't run my floats, I'll go crazy. Maybe troll for some panfish, depending on how the weeds are up there. There's a whole week of all I have to do is go fishing. So there's all kinds of endless possibilities.
Man, I guess that's exactly true. The other thing that I'm really excited for, and I think we hinted about this, was it last week or 2 weeks ago when we were talking to Darren, and we had mentioned that I've never caught a muskie, and he was like really surprised to hear that. I don't know why, it's just big species. I don't know, but we went to the Wisconsin Fishing Expo this past year in February, March. When does that happen?
March. No, not the Wisconsin Fishing Expo.
Yeah, and we made the Spanky Baits.
No, that was at the sports show.
Oh, well, there you go.
In Minneapolis.
Well, anyways, I don't mean to be so general. I mean, we went to a lot of shows. And the cool thing, though, is that I remember Spanky Baits, and we went there because you can pick out your blades and your beads and your skirt and your all the things. And they like literally twist it together on a jig, like right in front of you, right there. So how do you not love that? So I'm like, I need to buy some musky lures. So ultimately we did. And I had them sitting around the house for like the longest time because I needed to get a case for them. So I'm excited to show you guys what we came up with. But that'll come on vacation. But I think what I'm going to be doing is casting for some muskies. Yeah,
we'll spend a couple evenings probably doing that. Not sure I'm going to get 10,000 casts in, but I might get a couple hundred.
Get 1,000 maybe. I mean, we got a week. I'm willing to, if I can get 500 casts 2 different nights, I don't know. I'm saying, that's the thing is we have been fishing around the Slowage. We said not that long, just a few years, but long enough that I can see where people have raised other muskies and stuff. So not that I think I can go and catch that same fish in that same spot, but you never know. And it does give me something to look forward
to. Yeah.
All a new adventure.
So now what?
Well, I guess I am just thinking about bog fishing. My mind's a little bit on vacation. So I guess just a reminder to everyone who hangs out with us here on Tuesdays that actually next week, Tuesday, we will not be here. So sorry, we'll miss you guys, but make sure to come and post your fishing reports and all of that. Tag us so we know to come and check that out. But the other thing, we're talking about all of this heat that has been coming up. And we have some really great gear that actually we can show off to you guys. But also, I feel like this is a great time to also mention, because I feel like Josh is about to flip to the website. And they're also doing like Father's Day deals. So if you have not gotten anything for Father's Day yet, if you are looking, there are sales going on. So we might be able to peek at that while we're there as well.
Yeah. So while we're doing this, feel free to throw it up in comments if you guys have any of your favorite stuff that you like to wear, whatever it is. I'm up for hearing whatever you guys wear out there. This is just stuff. This stuff is just the stuff that I've grown to really love. If you had asked me, a handful of years ago if I was ever going to be wearing a long sleeve hooded shirt, out in 90-degree weather, I would have laughed at you.
That's like legitimate.
But that's
true.
really all. That's really all I wear now.
It.
I love having a hood, even when I'm wearing a hat, just because it keeps the sun, like it keeps the sun out of my peripherals. So it's like me going like this all the time. It's pretty sweet.
It is kind of like bringing your own shade, though. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to think of wearing a hood, wearing sleeves. You're out there on those super hot, sunny days. The boat floor is like almost on fire unless you have carpet. I guess that's different. We have, what is that flooring called?
We have vinyl.
Yeah, that gets a little bit hot. But I mean, that's the thing is having the sleeves, having the hood, that really does keep you cool.
So, okay, I'm going to go through mine and then I'll let you go through yours. So I have two. My two favorites that I like for summertime is this low tide hoodie.
Even that color, you like specifically chose the gray and not the others.
I mean, I like the gray. I do prefer the gray. I like the blue one too. The transition. I'm not a camo guy. I'm not like the green, like hunting camo guy. I don't know. That's for deer hunting. This is for fish hunting. But I do really like this low tide hoodie. It's super light and it's soft.
It is actually soft. It says right there, forwardly stretch design, but it actually is like a comfortable shirt.
I think one of my favorite things about it is that it's stain resistant. And so I can spill coffee and get fish blood on it and get worm dirt on it. And then I can like wipe it off. And then usually when I get home, I put a little bit of like Dawn dish soap on it just put some on my finger and just rub it on there and throw it in the wash. And I've had.
You don't even have to do that.
No, you don't. But I do. And I've had some of these shirts for almost 3 years now and they look brand new still.
Oh,
so it's pretty awesome. They have the sunglass thing. That's pretty sweet. But they're like stretchy. They're like super comfy. I don't know. Love the low tide. Recommend that. And then their new one, the Guardian hoodie. Here, I'll click on. I like this one. So the Guardian hoodie is pretty sweet, and it's very much similar to the low tide hoodie, except it has
a different fabric.
There's a different fabric, but it has thumb loops, which I really like because if I don't have my thumbs in the loop, I always like end up doing this, and that's like defeating the purpose. And so if I have my thumbs in the shirt, it just keeps them covered.
Mm-hmm.
Has the removable gaiter, but it has extra big like breathing holes in it, so it's not like stifling. And both the low tide and the Guardian hoodie both have a hood. And I think like fishing, if you've never fished with a hood, try it out. It's awesome. I love it.
That is a nice bass, by the way.
Yeah, that is a nice bass. And the all this stuff is like UPF 50, which is very cool. So you don't have to deal with all the sunblock. I have, for my face and my ears and stuff, I have a little like, it looks like a little deodorant stick that's like UPF 30 or UPF 50 or something. And then I don't have to touch any sunblock. Just put it on my nose and ears and I'm good to go for the day.
While we're talking about our favorite gear, I will quick explain this. Daryl is saying you laughed at my comment. Okay, so one of our other staffers, Katie, she is an awesome fisherman. She's awesome lady. Yeah, go and check that out. But she had a post the other day, and I don't know what she was doing or where she was, like maybe wedding or something. She was wearing like a very nice dress. Well, I really only saw it like here up, but it looked very nice. And she made a comment about like, oh, the first and last time that she's fishing in a dress. And I said, honestly, that I love fishing in dresses because number one, it's cool. I mean, it's summer. It's a great thing to wear. But as a lady, it is so much easier to pee on the boat. It just is true. So I honestly, like, if you see me at boat ramps, and I am always that lady who's like walking around in a dress or like a long skirt, and it is like, I love it. Maybe it's crazy, but it works. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome because we can stay out fishing longer. So my last one that I'm going to touch on is the tournament shorts. These are by far the best shorts I've ever worn, ever, but also some of the best fishing shorts. And it has some cool pockets in it. There's a little stretchy pocket on the left side that you can put your wallet in and it won't fall out or anything. But honestly, the stretchy waistband is really nice. And it's a soft seam, so that's pretty awesome. But they're ventilated and they're a little bit longer, so they go over the edge of your knees, which is super awesome. So then you don't burn the top of your legs. We all know that we do. You're sitting on the boat seat and your shorts hike up a little bit, and then
Josh is demonstrating here. You cannot see this.
I'm just cringing thinking about it. But these shorts prevent that. They're awesome. If you need a new pair of shorts, I'm telling you, these are. I wear them all. If I could wear them to work every day, I would. These are awesome pants.
Well, and it's funny because actually, now that maybe you've heard about them, tournament shorts, people talk about them online once in a while. It is actually crazy. Just keep your eye out, and everyone's it's a thing this year, apparently. Everyone, I don't know. I wish I was a dude so I should wear them. No, I'm kidding. That's why I have skirts, right? That's what we talked about.
You have to go over to this side. You can't control.
Oh, because I'm looking at the little screen. Okay, so as far as my favorites, I love wearing these wave break shirts to these shows because they're super comfortable. These are awesome shirts, but I have to agree with Josh when he talks about the hood. And so I have to come right away to these women's Guardian hoodies. I made you pick a color. This is what happens when I get to my closet. I'm like, blue, pink, blue, pink, blue, pink. And gosh, sometimes, they call it aqua. I should say that instead. But one of the things that I love about this shirt is, first of all, just the fit, the comfort, that hood, like we talked about, but all this venting up and down the sides here, honestly, is just something that we haven't had. It's just so functional, but it looks good. It's comfortable. It's just great as a shirt. But I mean, honestly, as far as the heat goes, this is my go-to every time. The other thing that I love, Josh was mentioning the face mask. It is kind of cut out even with your nose. And can I click on this even? Can I zoom in?
Click on it. Try it. There you go. That's all the zoom.
Okay. You probably can't see that any closer at home. Like Josh was saying, there's the dots here so you can breathe super easily. But the nice thing is that the dots are small enough that lake fly season on the river. I mean, I guess I sound like a crazy person talking about all these bugs, like the mosquitoes at night and the lake flies, but that's one of those things when they're just buzzing in your ears and getting in your face, it just makes it hard to fish. So when you can do something just as simple as just having that built-in gator and pull it up or down as you need it, that's awesome. The other thing that actually I also have to say about that hood, and maybe dudes worry about this too, but I imagine a lot of times ladies or people with longer hair, when you are traveling, flying around in the boat, I mean, it is really fun to be in the wind and all of that. But when your hair whips around in the wind, honestly, it creates damage and it breaks it. So maybe some of you, that's not an issue. But as a lady, I love having the option of wearing this hood because we talk about sun protection. We talk about, in other cases, wind protection. We've all come home wind burnt. But you forget that things like flying around, driving around can have that effect as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that shirt, and in a surprise vote, the other one that I would also click on, I'm even clicking on the same color. I also love this low tide hoodie. So I know that it kind of comes from the men's collection or whatever, but it is a shirt that fits great on everybody. I will reiterate kind of what Josh is saying. The material is soft. It is light. It is comfortable, even when it is hot. And I will tell you, this one doesn't have that little venting on the sides here, but wearing this material, I've honestly never missed it. It doesn't have that built-in buff, but it does still have that hood and some of those other good features. But just honestly, all around, this is one of my favorite fishing shirts. This is just great.
Mm-hmm.
I did also try out their shorts this year. So if ladies are looking for shorts, there you go. I like the black ones. These are actually pretty great. To be honest, I haven't worn them more than once, so I'll bring you more of a review. Excuse me, I'm hiccuping. I'll bring you more of a review as I wear them, but I am liking that so far.
Yeah. So, like Emily was stating, I think at the top here, Father's Day sale, 15% off most products with code DAD15.
And I think I saw in an email that even trekker suits are included in this. So I know it's hard to think about ice season as we are here in this heat talking about 100-degree weather and all of that. But it's amazing how fast ice season comes back. And actually, I guess the other thing, while we're looking at this gear, scroll down a little bit. I don't know, you're wearing one of these Cool Wave shirts, right? Is that even... Oh, I don't even see that here, which is fine. All of these other shirts, the nice thing about them is that every single one of these has this wicking material. And so as you are looking at these different shirts, we're talking about shirts and you're looking at shorts everywhere. But all of these shirts here, no, I'm just saying that all these shirts make really great layering pieces. So if you are out there looking for trekker gear and stuff, like these shirts are not just items that you're going to have to put away as summer comes and goes. You know, it's a great base layer to get that moisture away from your body. Obviously, you need warm layers. Obviously, you know, that snowsuit or whatever on top of that. But, you know, in this case, a lot of these shirts we don't put away.
No, I use all the shirts all year round. You know, I having the base. That's one thing as ice anglers. You know, snowmobilers are pretty decent at it, but ice anglers, and myself included, up until a few years ago, are just bad at layering. And I say that with the utmost love because once you figure it out, you'll be like, this is so much more comfortable. And we're always taught, like, you know, oh, bundle up and, you know, put on more stuff, but that's not necessarily always the case, right? You want to still be able to move, and bundling up sometimes makes you too warm, depending on your activity level. And so, you know, having a base layer like this underneath, you know, let's say like a t-shirt, you know, it brings the moisture away from your body, and you can have this, a t-shirt, a hoodie, and on most, you know, at least in central northeast Wisconsin, most days you can be comfortable in that
with your bibs and your jacket.
Right, with your bibs. You know, or like you said, if you're wearing your jacket, maybe you just need this and a hoodie on. You know, you don't need to put like 3 different hoodies on and then your jacket. It's trapping your body heat, but it's also trapping moisture in between those layers, and then it's gonna make the whole ensemble cold. So, you know, don't put the UPF stuff away, wear it all season, and it does keep you a lot more comfortable.
That is absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, you know, we had kind of started this day talking about pan fishing and our fishing report and all of that. So, I was going to say I'm looking forward to the weekend of getting out, but we are headed north.
Yeah, well, I am looking forward to the weekend and getting out because it's getting out for a whole week starting this weekend.
And I guess with that, that's all I really had planned to talk about tonight, to be honest.
Yeah.
With vacation, everything coming up. Honestly, I just did not have a guest prepared, and I didn't want to like throw somebody on the spot. That's the thing, is like all these people that we talk about on the striker team, you know, the majority of them are guides, and they are busy this time of the year. You know, we always think, oh, striker ice, you know, ice season, you know, but there are all of those guides. There is no off season. And, you know, for each of us that's out there, like taking vacations and doing fun things, for some of them, that is their work time. So, you know, we talk about these beautiful days and all of that, and everyone's like at home, oh, I wish I could be a guide and fish all the time. But, you know, these holidays and these times off and vacation and summer, you know, all of that books up so fast for these people.
Yeah, a lot of our staff are busy with clients, and you wouldn't think it, and even some of them will admit they didn't think that they would be this busy when they started their journey, and they're booming. You know, it's 7 days a week of fishing, and that it sounds awesome, but then you know, maybe on week 7 of 49 days on the water, you're like, oh man, I could go for a nap.
But the cool thing, though, is so many of those different clients and people taking those trips are, in some of these cases, some of you guys. And honestly, even in some of those cases, us. We've met people on the show that we are definitely going to go fish with and wish that we could fish with everybody, actually. But that's the thing, is you get to talk about these experiences, talk about fishing, in different ways. Something that's new for somebody might be how somebody else goes out all the time. So to share that knowledge, that is what we love to do.
Yeah. So, if you guys ever have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to us. I'm Josh Jensen on Facebook. This is Emily Lucas Jensen on Facebook. Reach out to us or reach out to the Striker page. They have a great staff, like full-time in the office staff.
Always busy.
Always busy, but
orders, yeah.
but they're awesome, and they always love to talk to you guys, and or maybe you just want to pop in and say hi and thanks, and Megan appreciates those emails too. So yeah, we love that you guys come and hang out with us on Tuesdays. It's always fun, and yeah, let us know if we can bring anything else to your entertainment for Tuesdays.
And with that, I gotta say, thanks for being here with us, because you guys are always a big part of that fun. And with that, we look forward to seeing you on 2 weeks from now's edition of Hook, Line, and Striker.
Night, everybody.